Hi guys, well, this is another left me with no choice type of videos with, as normal, plenty of evidence to go with it. The only reason I've got involved with this one is the fact that it's the same group of people that tried having my pants down regarding Connor and his trip to Disneyland, which for those that haven't already heard, we've got the money sat waiting, but we don't know if it's because of some stupid thing going on at the minute with the airlines or what, but I've got to ring a number to book it instead of doing it online like we was going to do. But this video went about, that will update you as soon as it's booked and we know the ticket's coming. This one is about a campaign that I actually got involved with, or we got involved with, a while back. So it's not something out of fresh air, it's something I've got experience on. And it's to do with the same group of people again. So, like I said, this is why I'm doing this video. There was live feeds put on Facebook last night. And why it took me so long to actually do this video is because this particular group of people normally delete videos when it all starts coming on top. So I sat through, I think it's just over 1 hour video twice. First time just listening to absolute shit, to be fair, is what I could say about it. But while I was doing that, as you can see, both of them being recorded. Well, it's being recorded, but because there's a time, I can't work out how to turn the time limit off on my phone, so I had to do it in 2 separate halves. So the video's there if they ever decide to delete this one as well, because it's all coming on top. People that know me know that's how I work, because at the end of the day, I'd rather have that evidence there in front of me and know I can use it if it needs be. Now, this is about the Aiden James campaign, which last year we did get very involved with. We sent £100 to Aiden James's mother so she could go visit him before his first trial that started on the 1st of April. I actually thought it was a joke when I found out what the date was, because... oh, it might not be. Yeah, it was the 1st. I'm sure. Yeah, it was the 1st of April. And we actually travelled. We didn't pay for hotels, but we had to travel, obviously, from Hull to somewhere near London. We stopped at a very good friend, so we could actually go on the first day of the trial as well. So there was the expense from driving down. While we was there, we also handed her over £50 to help towards hotel fees and stuff like that. Yeah, maybe I should have done a little bit more homework before we went all guns blazing, but it didn't take us long before we actually stood back and looked at it and thought, hang on a minute, something's not quite adding up here. And like with our grandson Connor, we just took a step back and carried on supporting other things. Now, this video explains about how Aiden couldn't get into the army or the navy. They think it's down to mental issues. Now, that's something I personally want to put on a video, because, yeah, it could be mental issues, but you only think, you believe that it could only be that. That is something personally that I would have looked into straight away and said, was it because of mental? Because there's a very fine line between it being something... well, I'm not even going to check, because I'm no doctor, so I'm not even going to get into that side of it. But if it can't be accepted because of mental issues, it's obviously because with mental issues, you shouldn't really be in control of any firearm. What got me... because any of you that have actually seen Monday's video, I'd actually downloaded... well, I've printed off the prescribed terrorist organisations in the UK. And I thought, oh, well, I'll have to go through it. It's going to take a bit longer than a couple of hours. Only to find that it's going to be very useful today. Because in this video, they mentioned that the YPG, who Aiden was supposed to be fighting with against ISIS, are not a terrorist organisation in this country. They are, according to Turkey and places like that, and the European Union. So technically, up until the 31st of January, they were technically classed as a terrorist group within the UK, because it was part of the European Union, which we all know we're out of now, but at the time, we wasn't. I could be wrong, but just think about it. If it's European Union, that means it's anyone that was attached to the European Union, so it would have been classed as a terrorist group in the UK, but it's not on the UK's terrorist prescribed list. Now, because it's not on the UK's prescribed list, I had to look into the YPG bit separate. And basically, it's People's Protection Unit. And unlike the repeat of Islam, or whatever, to do with jihadis, to do with caliphates, to do with any of them, in the long list in this book, these don't actually, as well as the PKK, neither of them are all for Islam. They actually want to be, like us, we don't want them taking over our country. We want our country to stay with our own values and our own beliefs and stuff. And these are fighting to keep their areas as their own. The YPG and the PKK have never claimed any terrorist attacks within this country, and they don't swear by an ideology. They want away from the ideology, basically, and they're there to protect people. I don't know too much about it, but as far as I'm concerned, compared to the list that I have here, with the PKK and the YPG, there's that many letters I can't get my head around it. They're not people that go around blowing themselves up to kill innocents and stuff like that. They just want their own sovereignty or their own freedom, if you like. Again, because I'm no expert in it, and it'll take forever and a day to actually research it, then it's something I'm never going to be 100% on. The one thing that I did pick up on, that I'm just going to spend a tiny second on, they're part of the Syrian Democrat Forces in the Syrian Civil War, but that started off, if I can find it, formerly known, for those that have been saying this in a more of an L type of way than an A type of way, it was known as the Anti-Fascist International Terror. That was what it was known as formerly. So there you go, there's a little bit of information for the day. They say you learn something new every day, should I say, so there's your little bit if you didn't already know. Now, he was right when he said that the YPG went on our own prescribed terrorist list. But he was on they were on the European Union's prescribed terrorist list, so as far as I'm concerned, that's a very fine line there. Depends on what was said in court, the evidence said in court, but things like the passport, yeah, he was giving it back after the fact. He weren't going anywhere when he's locked up in Belmarsh, is he? He might be able to when he gets out, but he's not going while he's locked up in Belmarsh. You're going about him going to try and get help from the British Embassy. No one knows that unless they was with him. And as far as I'm concerned, is if he jumped the country because of a drug charge, I can't see him going there knowing full well that he's going to get dragged back. He actually had 3 charges, which, yeah, one was dropped, and then he had the drugs charge. He would have had his passport took off him because he was a flight risk. Any normal person knows that. And then, as I was looking through, because obviously, I'd seen an article last year, and it was about the PKK being taken off the prescribed terrorist, and now that they haven't up to this date as yet, and this is up to date from, this is an up to date version of it. But, yeah, anyway, it's an up to date version of it, and I found the PKK on there, and unlike a lot of the other groups that are all Islamic State, Al-Qaeda, whichever way you want to put it, follows an ideology, the PKK was actually put on the prescribed terrorist list in March 2001, and is primarily a movement that seeks for independent Kurdish state in southeast Turkey. The PKK changed its name to Kadek and then to Kongre Kurdistan, although the PKK acronym is still used by parts of the movement. The government laid an order in 2006 which provides the Kadak and the Kongre Kurdistan should be treated as alternative names for the organisation which is already prescribed as PKK. Now, when you go through the others, they actually provide a list of things that particular groups have owned up to doing, like where there's been a terrorist attack, and it'll tell you like a list of what they've said is down to them. Where am I? Sorry guys, bear with me. I have got another bit of this I need to read out to you, which I found very interesting, to be fair. Right, here it is. So now I know a bit more about the PKK and the YPG and what's where. I was reading, I needed to get it into my head exactly how you end up on the prescribed group, if it could be taken off. And there's one section here that says, do the offences relating to a prescribed organisation apply overseas? Yes. Section 11, offence of membership of prescribed organisations. Bearing in mind the YPG are on the European Union's prescribed terrorist list. The Section 11 offence of membership of a prescribed organisation had extraterritorial jurisdiction since 2006. Remember me telling you about Aidan James's first trial in April? Now listen to this. From the 12th of April 2019, the Section 12 and 13 offences of inviting or recklessly expressing support for a prescribed organisation and the offences of displaying or publishing articles also have extraterritorial jurisdiction for British nationals and UK residents. The offences do not prevent non-governmental organisations interacting with prescribed organisations overseas. Now, call me old-fashioned, but that seems absolutely fantastic timing on the government's behalf for that to actually slip into there. I've seen the video where he's definitely off his face on something, and I don't personally speak Arabic, so I couldn't tell you if it was idle vices that he said, but he's definitely saying fuck you to someone and love you to someone else on this video. I've seen the video myself. Another quick one, the second trial wasn't in May. Then you go on to say that you don't support his drug dealing, and you've told him that, and he was just a petty dealer. Sorry, you don't get 3 years for being a petty drug dealer. Look at the recent one within Hull, where he was found with quite a lot of cash. Got about the same years, if I remember rightly. You look into drug offences, you don't get 3 years and you wouldn't run away for petty dealing. There's a lot more to that than you're making out. As for going on about him getting another year for the terrorist attack in London, any normal person would know that you can't get done for someone else's offence unless you're with them all day, because it's that new fucking Fandango thing that I keep forgetting the name of. As for that extra year, that'll be when he swiped at someone with a pull cue, and they got it on TV as well. I personally haven't seen it, but plenty of people have told me about it. I saw the first one regarding Tommy, and it put me off the programme completely, to be fair, because it's TV channels trying to promote their propaganda again. So I went off it, but I have seen a still image of him just about to his guy with pull cue, so that isn't why he got the extra year. It was the pull cue. One of the things that did make me laugh, and that was when you went, conscripts, I mean transcripts. Now, it could have been a random slip of the tongue, but conscripts, don't believe you've got them, because if you or anyone in that little group was set out to do things where there was evidence, you'd already be flashing it around by now. I've had run-ins with your group before. And I like the way that you emphasise that the RAF helped Aidan James and the YPG. They helped the YPG with the airspace, come on. They wouldn't have known Aidan. It wasn't Aidan and the YPG, it was the YPG, come on. Don't try getting the sun to shine out of something that's not going to happen. You got taken to mind about international laws regarding his case as well. And the fact that he went on that the jury sent the judge a letter saying that they feel sorry for him. But then you go on about, he did it as a volunteer. Well, of course he's going to do it as a volunteer. He was on the run. He was on the run for a drug charge. And I don't care what anyone says, and I will try and look it up myself to see exactly what it is. 3 years. Bearing in mind he's done over 2 years, so he served the year that he got given for the one terrorist thing that was left on the list. He's now serving time for drug offences. He got 3 years in a nice security prison. So, I for 1 minute do not believe that he was just a petty dealer. We're not all daft. Another bit that come up on the video, you kept going, that was it. I enjoyed this bit. And I double checked it, and I forgot to bring the screenshot that I printed down. Right back, guys, bear with me. I am going to pause this, and I'm going to go get the screenshot, because I think this is quite an important screenshot. Right, I've got the screenshot. I am going to say, instead of pausing the video, I've actually stopped it, because what I'm going to do with the length of it, if you haven't realised before, I speed my videos up because I'm a twat. I sometimes send myself to sleep, let alone anyone else. So what I've been doing is speeding my videos up by 0.3. 1, to make them a little bit shorter, and 2, to make it easier for your ears, if you like. If that's what we can call it. But one of the things that was brought up in this video, this live feed, was about if he was known as if he had a conviction for being a woman beater, once he was found guilty, they'd bring it up in court. Straight away, alarm bells rang. And what I did is I got a print off of what actually happens regarding previous convictions. When you're in court, it does change every now and again for people. As they make the rules up, we probably, well, 90% of us will know someone that it's happened to. But as a defendant, for previous to come out. And I knew it was this, but trying to actually get it out without the printout would have been impossible because I couldn't remember exactly the words they used when I was sat in a courtroom when they did this to someone that I know. During the trial of a criminal charge, reference to previous convictions, and therefore to spent convictions, can arise in a number of ways. The most common is when a bad character application is brought in, which is made under the 2003 Criminal Justice Act. Much depends on whether you make a point as part of your case about it, i.e. if you state you are a good character, the other side would be entitled to adjure evidence of bad character. Sorry guys. And that's when they bring up the previous convictions. When considering the bad character applications under the 2003 Act, regard should always be had to the general principles of the Rehabilitation of Offenders Act 1974. So basically, because drug dealing and going abroad to fight whoever he went to fight has nothing to do with domestic violence or beating women up, that is why they wouldn't have mentioned it in court. So sitting there and saying, to the best of your knowledge, fair enough, you don't know whether he's got it, but you doubt it because they would have brought it up in court. Wrong again. Not. Nada. No need to bring that up in court when he was there on 2 different charges completely. It's only if they had to bring it up for the bad character, which you'd already mentioned that the jury felt that the judge should have been lenient on him. So that's why he got a year. But he got 3 years for petty dealing. No. Right. You're saying he's a political prisoner. Technically, he's actually spent his political prison side of the sentence already. He's now in for his drug charges. It's 3 years for his drugs. That was another thing I pointed out. And we get onto the ISIS bride. That he married an ISIS bride while he was across there. So there's obviously something not sitting pretty because a YPG member marrying an ISIS bride. Now, he'd already said he was off to a wedding. Didn't say it was his own. And he was married to an ISIS bride when he was across there. But then you was going on about you doubt that happened. You knew he got married while he was across there, but you doubt that it happened because she would have got stoned to death. And rah-de-bah-de-bah-de-bah. But then you start contradicting yourself and saying that you don't care who he gets married to. Marriage is private business and he can get married to who he fucking wants. And at the top of my voice, I actually shouted, but it's got a lot to do with us if it is an ISIS bride, because that puts a totally different perspective on this entire story. I've mentioned that with the RAF and highlighting Aiden's name. No, they was working with the YPG. Making Aiden's name known in the middle of that sentence is just trying to highlight that it was making it sound more than it is. Then you went on with how people have been attacking you for 6 months regarding Melanie Shaw. Now, I don't believe that's happening. That's my opinion. And you cannot, under any circumstances, compare Melanie Shaw's case to Aiden James. Yeah, she's a convicted arsonist, but that was because some silly bastard in the prison service gave her a lighter a couple of times and she left her to set fire to the fucking mattress in the prison cell. And that's what she's been convicted for. Apart from that, she shouldn't be in where she is now. That poor woman has been through so much. And then you try and compare her to Aiden James. It's not wearing with me. Not at all. Carol Woods. I've been warning people about Carol Woods 4 years ago on my other profile. I'm sure it was around 4 years ago I started shouting out about poor Carol Woods. No one listened. And now all of a sudden people are doing... Then you're going on about how people are attacking you for certain things. And regarding the Melanie Shaw movement, I actually don't believe it's trolls. I believe it's someone that actually has done a lot of work for the Melanie Shaw movement and he's been kicked in the gutter. And when he had an heart attack, no one could be asked to go and see him. You know what I'm on about if you're within that movement. You're going about free speech, but then you won't let the one person that keeps saying, get me on, talk. The one that can provide the evidence. But then you're not going to allow them on, are you, when it's going to jeopardise what you and Colette are already doing? And this is why I was on about the fact that it's the same group again, collecting money for... I'd love to know how much money you guys have had. We've got the Aidan James now. I handed money over for Melanie Shaw, as well as others. Carol Woods. Now you're on about getting on to John Patterson. Now, I know there was a John involved to do with the boxing with Connors, but I can't remember his second name, and until I do, I can't actually link the two. Then you go on about the real deal is Melanie Shaw and Carol Woods. No mention of fucking Aidan on that. So, are you even having oohs and ahs, or... Oh, we don't know, do we? Like I says, if you was about free speech and not falling out with people, you give people the time of day, or you would have linked Yvonne onto that yesterday, but you didn't. So, our feelings that, like, there's a group of people that really don't care what lengths they go to get what they want. I wasn't actually the first person to try conning, was I? Been people before me, and I think the police were right when they said this is some sort of ongoing thing. All I'm going to say on the matter is, yeah, you follow who you want. There's a lot of people going on about Tommy with money and other people with money. How I see it is, again, no one's perfect. Regarding the money, if you think they're being dodgy, don't hand your money over. It's that simple. It's up to people to decide to give that money over. I personally know who I will and will not be giving money to in future. Same with Dave. But that won't stop me and Dave from supporting the good work that certain people do. I don't agree with everything people do. People don't agree with everything I do. It's part and parcel of being an individual. But at the same time, instead of using all your energy to moan about money coming from here, money coming from there, don't hand your money over. It's that simple. At the end of the day, we know the money we've handed over has gone. Whether it's gone to where it's supposed to have gone or whether it's gone elsewhere. And that's up to... We're not going to sit there moaning about the facts when there's more important things to be getting on with. Anyway, guys, I think I've gone on enough. Colette, you really do know how to make enemies, don't you? I thought Jimmy had a bit more about him. We're taking way too much on, for starters. Taking money for this, that and other, but there's been no proof of where it's been going. And this is exactly why people are starting to step back from the movement, because there's too many people wanting fucking money. We're meant to be there to protect the kids, not make a fucking profit out of any fucking cause you can make it out of. And I think I'm going to leave it there because I can feel my blood boiling. Later, guys.